Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, right? I want to tell you a story about how when a brother is coming off of Max, right? Max is locked down 23-1. And what happens when you come off Max and how you take a pod over, right? Because you got a lot of brothers, right, that go to Max and you'll spend years on Max. I spent 3.5 years, right? But you got some brothers that have been on Max 5, 7, 10 years, right? Now they changed the laws a lot. So, if they keep you on Max after a certain amount of time, they gotta let you off for at least 24 hours, and then they can put you back on Max, right? Because some people are so dangerous, so manipulative, so shisty that they can't be trusted in the general population. They're gonna take advantage of the population and do some things. But let me tell you something. A lot of the people on Max are the ones that's making the calls, man. They're making all the big boy calls and getting things done, right? I don't know what it is about Max, right? But being on Max in a lot of different ways gives you credit, gets you creds, right? Where the people think that, bro, Max, he must have put in work, he did this and he did that. But see, a person that's on Max learns to be relevant, to continue to be relevant. You got to be able to manipulate the minds from a distance, right? And that's what a lot of brothers do that's in charge, right? The heads, they manipulate the mind from a distance. Now, let me give you a story about this brother named Trigger Man. Now, Trigger Man was on Max, right? For just some old petty stuff, right? He went in and put in some work, right? But that's relevant. He put in some work because one of the guys asked him to. It turned out to be bogus. You know what I'm saying? A bogus call because the brother that asked him to go put in some work just didn't want to do it himself. So he got Trigger Man. That's why he got his nickname, Trigger Man. You know what I'm saying? Because he quick to go, right? Always ready. But he asked Trigger Man to go put in some work. Trigger Man didn't even question. He went on and did it. Turned out it was a bogus call, but that don't mean nothing to the police. You're going to Max anyway because you ain't had no business hitting that boy in the head with that weight and splitting him, right? And I'm going to tell you that story another time. But here's the thing. Trigger Man is on Max now, right? And when you on Max, let me tell you something. They're going to come around and talk to you every 30 or 90 days, right? And when they talk to you, it's just to see how you're doing, try to figure out where your mind is at, and then they're going to decide if they're going to let you off of Max and put you back, work your way down so you can get back into the general population. But most of the time, the first year or the second year, it's just a formality. They coming around, they not finna let you out. They just want to talk to you to see how you're doing, keep you encouraged with some false hope, and tell you that everything is going to work out. Keep doing what you're doing, and then you're going to eventually get up off of it, right? So here's the thing. Trigger Man is on Max. He's in his third year now, right? So anytime they come and see him, it's a possibility that he's going to get on Max. And the other brothers know that, right? Now, these brothers that have been on Max and have been deemed not worthy of being released from Max because they just don't get it. They manipulated it, they shiced it, they ain't going. But they got some authority. They got some authority, okay? Let's keep it real. Let's acknowledge that. So what they do to maintain their reach, they know who's getting ready to go out. Now, Trigger Man, he on his way out. You know what I'm saying? He one of the guys, right? So Brun them getting at him. They letting him know, look, when you go out there, you do A, B, and C, we gonna give you a position. Now keep in mind, just because you're on Max, don't mean you can't communicate with people. You're still writing letters, you got phones in some cases, all this old kind of stuff going on, right? So they still got somebody out there that they can communicate with. But a lot of times, the brothers that are out on the compound, after a while, they stop really listening to everything that's being said by the brothers that might have authority that's in the back on Max. Because it's like, what you gonna do if I don't do it? And how you gonna ever know if I don't do it? You feel what I'm saying? Ain't nothing you can do. You can't find out. You're on Max. But once brothers on the compound in the general population realize that, they start kind of doing their own thing. They'll still respect it. They'll still use that brother's name in vain as one that's on Max to make sure that the other people know that they have authority. You understand? It's all manipulation, right? But this is what they do. The brothers on Max. They can tell when their authority is starting to wane, right? And they don't have the call, the power they used to have, right? So they'll catch a brother like Trigger Man on his way out, and they'll convince him, look, bro, we're going to give you some power when you get out there, but you got to have to do a few things, right? Now, keep in mind, when you on Max, it's like a closed society, and a person's mind is consumed with that every day. So he's knowing who these individuals are. And he knows they have authority. But he don't know out on the compound because he's been gone so long that most of the brothers, they still respect the position, but only to a certain extent. So, but he's back there, he don't know that. So he's thinking everything they say is law. And they not going to let him think nothing else. They'll have fake situations where they made up in their mind, I'm going to get bruh knocked off and have him whoop this, that, and the third. And it just so happens, right, that somebody's on their way back to the hole. And this brother don't know why they're coming back to the hole. And the brothers that's got positions, they don't know either. But they'll make Trigger Man or somebody like Trigger Man believe that they had something to do with that. They'll make this brother believe that they made that call. Trigger Man ain't got no way of finding out whether it's true or not. But in his mind, he's looking at them like, man, they still can do it. So when they tell him they can give him some power when he gets out there, he believes it. So those 3 years that he's been in the back, he's being groomed by them to believe that if he does what they say, he's going to be all right. So he drinks the Kool-Aid. He's all in, full function, ready to roll at any time. Plus, they already know he's on Max because he is a good send-out, as they say. So they tell him, look here, this is what I need you to do when you go out there. Because there's some very key things you got to do to take over a pod, right? Now check this out. When he goes out there on the compound, he's going to be put in a pod where he may or may not have any brothers that's going to be listening to the brothers in the back. But what they want him to do is to reestablish their authority, not necessarily his. And it's some key things that you have to do that, right? So the day comes, right, when Trigger Man is about to be released. So they stay up all night telling him what to do, giving him letters, writing to him, you know what I'm saying, and giving him letters through the police so that he can present these letters to the brothers that's out on the compound, in the pods and on the compound, and all the whole compound, telling them this is what it is, this is what they want done, and all this and that, right? And a lot of the stuff that they're telling them is that, you know, they want phones, they want drugs, who's in charge, who they got to report to. They are establishing the organizational structure in a way to where it puts them back in the mix. And it shakes up the compound because those brothers on the compound have usually moved beyond them. Again, keep in mind, they still use the manipulation of them brothers back in the back. You know what I'm saying? This is OG such and such. This is Big Folk such and such. This is Vice Lord such and such. Whatever the case may be, right? They still use that to their advantage, but they don't follow their lead, right? So they gonna use Trigger Man to reestablish that, right? You know, now, Trigger Man one of the folks. So run them in the back, tell him, look, when you get out, give this letter to such and such. It depends on what compound he's going to. Say this and say that. And when he goes out on the compound and he does that, bro and them get the letters after they make sure that he's legit. And then they look at it and say, well, bro, this is how we do it out here. But he's been so brainwashed, he ain't hearing that. He laying it down to them like he's really got some power, like he's really got some authority. He don't understand what's going on yet. So he's standing firm on the fact that he's going to call the shots. They going to fall in line, and bro them in the back going to have the final say. And that's just that on that. Or it's going to be heads to roll. Because if they don't do it, bro them in the back go make some calls and have some brothers transferred to this particular prison, and it's going down. Even though the brother on the compound know that them brothers in the back, they don't have it like that. Trigger Man don't know that. He has no clue they don't have that kind of authority. But he's all in. And let me tell you how important it is to be convinced of something, right? So Trigger Man is convinced. He believes that he can get this done, right? So this is what he does. Let me tell you what he does. He finds the brother, the one that thinks he's the biggest and the baddest, the one that's not listening. So he starts to pick a fight. He starts to make situations where bro came back out. Bro and them know what he's doing. They've seen it before. So the call is made. Man, let them brothers go on and get them up, right? Because bro and them on the compound feel like Trigger Man ain't going to be able to hold his own. Trigger Man holds his own. He holds his own. Now keep in mind, when you back on Max, all you doing all day is running in circles in the cage they put you in, doing push-ups and pull-ups. Gucci strong. Eating honey buns and peanut butter all day, every day. just doing whatever you got to do. You exercise. Now the brothers on the compound, they're exercising, but they smoking weed, drinking, doing all these type of things, and they're not in as good a shape as somebody that comes off max. They got longer wind, but Trigger Man hitting hard. Trigger Man win the fight, so he uses that to his advantage. And he tell everybody, look, I'm not here to disrupt the peace. Now keep in mind what I'm telling you. He establishes his authority by whooping the one brother that everybody respects that's not listening to burn him in the back. He does that. And when he whoops him, now he tries to be the peacemaker. He says, I'm not here to disrupt the peace. I'm just here to reestablish order. Burn them in the back, calling the shots through me. What they say goes. Burn them on the compound, they a little spooked, but they not cowards. They've seen this before, don't forget that. So in the meantime, in between time, temporarily, they tell Trigger Man, that's what's up, bro. We gonna do this, so what you wanna do? So now they get everybody together. And he tells everybody he's been appointed the head of the compound. He the 9. He running things, right? And then he's going to pick everybody that's going to be up under him. You know what I'm saying? The assistant 9 Trey, the treasurer, the secretary, all of that. He going to pick that. And then they're going to pick, you know what I'm saying, the pod coordinators and all of the things that go along with that, right? And then the structure's going to be intact. But all of them, including him, are going to be subordinate to burn them in the back. This is how the breakdown goes. So temporarily, they submit to that. But they're plotting. So Trigger Man has already been advised that this is what they're going to do. He already been told what they're going to do because this game has been played out before. Now check this out. This is what they do. They go along with Trigger Man. And now he don't know who's who and what's what. So they start to recommend brothers. They say, well, the brother right here, he'll be good in the number 2 spot. Which before he was the 1. He was the 9 Trey. So he just drops down. Everybody really just drops down one position, right? And that just keeps everybody in play. Trigger Man thinks that they're loyal to him and the brothers in the back. But they're just buying time. They're just buying time. So now brought them in the back because you in that isolated, secluded environment. You don't really have contact with your common sense. What I'm saying, right? You start to have delusional thoughts and think, we did it. This can work. We calling shots again. You tell yourself that because you make yourself relevant again. You give yourself some sense of importance. But here's the thing. Run them in the back overlooking that they've tried this before. It'll last a little while and then it don't work. But each time they try it, they say, this time it's gonna work. This time it's gonna work. Trigger Man gonna make sure that. He gonna make sure that this thing goes down the way it's supposed to be. So now they're in the back and they're not paying attention to who's in charge. They're just looking at them like, yeah, they the guys, but they weak. We run this. We make these calls. So they starting to send word out there and tell them to send, you know what I'm saying, they need something to smoke back there. They need phones back there. They need all of these types of things back there. No matter how much you get, it's only a certain amount of people in the back. You can't make a lot of money. So what they start doing, they start smoking, getting caught with phones and all of this whole kind of stuff and bringing heat to the compound because the administration know the only way that they're going to get anything in the back is through people on the compound. You feel me? So it becomes tighter and tighter to do things. Now the brothers on the compound, they start looking at Trigger Man and they start to think, okay, this is what we need to do with him. He thinks he's running some stuff. Let's go on and play him for who he is. Remember when I told you Trigger Man is a send out, how folks them had sent him out before and he went on and done something, didn't even wait to see if it was a legitimate call. Well, check this out. You know, too many people, man, a lot of people, I'm telling you something, a lot of people don't really recognize the flaws that they have and then when you do recognize them, take the time to correct that, right? Once a send out, Trigger Man, in his situation, always a send out. Now, even though he denied, he's not recognizing what's being done. So his number two, which used to be number one, tells me, look, bro, we got a problem that need to be taken care of on the compound, man. And this is one of those situations where, we need to make sure that it goes down the way it's supposed to go. They got a problem with the ops, right? So Trigger Man, like, okay, what's the problem? Keep in mind, Trigger Man ain't never been in charge. He's been given some fake authority by the brothers in the back. So he don't really know how to process this out. He don't know how to process it out. So brother and them tell him, say, look, what we gonna do is we gonna have a sit down with the ops and work it out. The whole time, the individuals that they finna have a sit down with, they not even affiliated. Bruh and them done paid them off to play the role as a vice lord. See, if Trigger Man really put in work, he would know, if he'd ever had a real position of authority, he would know that one of the first things that you do when you get put in play is to make sure you know who everybody is on the compound and what organizations they belong to, so that if a situation ever comes up, you know who to go talk to. But he don't do that because he never really had any real power. He was given some fake power by some brothers that wanted to get their control back of the compound. So he don't even know that the guys that's coming into the cell to have this sit down, they not even affiliated. But let me tell you something about being in the penitentiary. People in the penitentiary, listen to me when I tell y'all this, because this going to have relevance in everything you do when you're dealing with somebody in the penitentiary. People in the penitentiary are the best actors. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? In the penitentiary, you can be anybody you want to be. But if you're not a convincing anybody, whatever that may be, if you're not a convincing anybody, then nobody falls for your game. So in the penitentiary, you got to hone your craft. You got to be good at convincing somebody you somebody that you're not. If you come in here and you got a rape charge, you convince people you got a murder charge. And you got to be convincing in that. You got to cover all bases. You feel what I'm saying? If you came in here and you sold dope and somebody robbed you at another place and the word goes to the other place that you got robbed, you got to convince them that you didn't get robbed. Dude and them snitched on you and they had you shipped. You got to be convincing. You understand what I'm saying? You got to make people think you are not the coward you think you are. You got to make people think you're not the person that everybody has said you are. You feel me? You got to make people think you're not the person that the courts have said you are. If you're trying to talk to some female or some other dude in here trying to convince them to get you some in, you got to convince people that you're solid. You got to convince people that, and most people in the penitentiary, dare I say it, they're not as solid as they put on. Everybody's pretending. Everybody's pretending. Because you feel an insecurity when you're in here. You're cut off from everybody. You're not confident anymore. One of the biggest things that happens to you when you get locked up is you lose your confidence. You lose your confidence because you got to think about it. Whatever it is that you did out there on the town, it didn't work. If it would have worked, you wouldn't be here. So when you do something, think about it. When you do something out there, you play basketball, baseball, softball, football, kickball, you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, whatever it is, when it don't work out, what happens? You lose confidence. And it affects your self-esteem. So why wouldn't it be the same for somebody that's committing a crime and gets caught, end up in the penitentiary? You lose confidence, even though it's misguided, you lose confidence and it affects your self-esteem. So you got to be somebody that you're not if you're not going to face the issues that you really have. And Trigger Man never did that. And it stopped him from being able to find out some key things you need to know when you deny trade. So now he got these dudes in the cell, sitting in the cell talking to him and telling him all of these different things about what's going on with this, that, and the third, pretending to be vice lord because he's relying on the people that he picked to be up under him, that used to be above him, that he's come out and put them in a secondary subordinate place. He's relying on them to filter this for him and then give him the right answer so he'll know what to say and do. Trick. It's a real trick. So all of them in there having this sit down, right? They're being paid. And brother and them are listening. They paying attention. This going back and forth. They've rehearsed this thing to the T. I'm telling you, this stuff goes down like this. Everything you hear is for keeps, y'all. So now they got Trigger Man believing, man, it's gonna be some problems, man, with these vice lords, man. Keep in mind, ain't no vice lords in the room when they were talking. But Trigger Man, he feeling like it's gonna be some problems. And now that threatens his leadership. Because as the leader, you're supposed to come up with a way to deal with everything, man. Solve all the problems. You the general. You know what to do. You should have the answers to all the problems that the guys have. You got to keep in mind, when you in charge, you mama, daddy, auntie, uncle, cousin, all of that. Granny, grandmama, granddaddy. You all of that to everybody. They expect you to have the answers. You see, a lot of people get put in these positions of authority and don't know nothing. They don't even know how to handle their own lives. How are they supposed to be able to help you solve your problems? And when you get in put in a situation like this, what Trigger Man got put in, he's playing above his pay grade. He's not ready. So by him being a send-out, once a send-out, always a send-out, he makes a call. Man, we gonna move first on these vice lords. We gonna move first. So Brunham, the puppeteers that's pulling the strings, they tell Trigger Man, look, we're gonna have to take care of this, right? Because this is one of those rare situations. One of those rare situations where we need everybody that's putting in work. Now they're playing to his vanity. Playing to his vanity. Because everybody know Trigger Man to go. He can fight. He just silly. He can't process things out. So he was like, folks, man, I knock that dude out. He ain't talking about nothing. He ain't talking about nothing. What we say go. This can't belong to GD. Simple as that. Simple as that, man. So they were like, yeah, folks, but when you're in a position like us, man, we got to be careful about what we do. We got to be able to get away with it. Because the body needs us. They convincing him that if we do this, we got to be careful and get away with it. Now he thinks they really care about it. They don't care nothing about it. So here's the thing. All of them in school, right? Ain't now one of them got a GED. Every one of the POAs, ain't now one of them graduated high school. Imagine that. So they all down in the school building, right? With these dudes that they think that, anyway, Trigger Man thinks it's vice lords, right? He think they vice lords, but they not. He don't know no better. They playing them like a funky piano. You hear me? So all of them down in the school, and they gassing them up. They building them up, right? They all outside on the backyard, you know what I'm saying, on break, right? Because you get breaks when you in school, right? I used to be teacher's aide down there, right? So now we all in the back. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's chilling. He thinks he's about to knock out a vice lord, right? Brunham, they run and they tell him the coast is clear. Ain't nobody here. He thinks when he does this, his reputation is going to be solidified. Everybody going to know. He ain't to be played with. And what Brunham in the back wanted him to do to get that power back for them, this going to be done. And he's looking at it like Brunham going to really know the Trigger Man is the guy they can deal with and trust. And he going to move up. He going to continue to move up. You understand? So the dude that walks out back, that the Trigger Man thanked the vice lord, Brunham say, get him. Bro, walk over there to him. And he look at him. Now, dude and them know it's going to be a problem, but folks and them done lied to them too. Folks and them done told them, man, he ain't going to do nothing, there ain't going to be no problem. We're going to be good, right? Because you can pay somebody in here, you know what I'm saying, anything, you know what I'm saying, dope I'm talking about, and they'll let you do whatever, right? But then they don't necessarily want to get into the fight. They don't want necessarily get into the fight. So you got to tell them it's going to go all the way up to that, and then you're going to step in and stop it. You feel me? They going to believe that. But that ain't what's finna happen. They need Trigger Man to whoop this dude. You feel what I'm talking about? But they ain't trying to start no real war with the Vice Lord. You feel me? Trigger Man walk over there, looking at him crazy. They play the role that they intended to play. They said, man, what's up with what we talked about, bro? Trigger man shoot back at him, man, don't call me bro. And then swing on him. Now he quick as lightning. And when he swing, all the way up until the moment Trigger man's fist hit dude right in the middle of his face, he had that look on his face like he thought Brother was really going to stop it. Because they standing behind Trigger man like they ready, but they telling him, he's looking at them. He ain't really paying attention to Trigger man. And they said, we got it. They letting the dude know, don't worry about it. We got it. So he ain't thinking he finna really get hit until he got knocked out. Then he laying there on the ground. And guess what happened? The police, they were right there at the door, on the other side of the door. Folks done played him dirty, right? Because they done already told the police, man, be watching, man. We trying to tell bro to leave this issue alone. And we got it. We don't want you coming out there, but we just letting you know something might happen. Trigger man done knocked this dude out. About 3-4 police bust through the door. Hold up. Everybody, get on the ground. Now everybody get on the ground. They grab Trigger man, and then they grab the dude that he knocked out. And then, they got a nurse that's down in the building. She come back there to check him out. He good. She hit him with that salt. He come back too. He's straight. They take both of them to the hole. They separate them. Trigger man hooping and hollering like he really done something. He putting on. But he ain't even been off max 3 good months. And you got to make it longer than that to stay on the compound. So they looked at it as if he ain't ready. Did the paperwork immediately recommended that he be returned to max. Now the dude that got hit in the mouth, that's not a real vice lord, they asked him what's going on. Folks done already got the note back in the back to him, letting him know we sorry about what happened, our bad, but we got you when you get out. You know how they gonna take care of him. Let him smoke something. He gonna be straight. Yeah, his lip busted, but it'll heal up. He ain't knocked no teeth out of nothing. Dude gonna be all right. He sent word back out to him. That's what's up. Trigger man, he write notes telling everybody on the compound, look, everything I laid down is still that. It is what it is. Now I'm going to put everybody in positions, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to let brother them know when I get back in the back, everything, man. Y'all keep everything running out here like brother them wanted it. You feel what I'm saying? Guess what they say back to him, right? GD that, folk. GD that. They ain't mean one word of it. They done got him out the way, right? Only the POAs know about it. The OSMs don't have a clue, but they didn't care about him anyway. They ain't want to listen to all that he was talking about because there ain't nobody going to do everything that the brothers in the back going to want them to do every time. And the brothers in the back getting frustrated by that, constantly sending brothers out on the compound to try to regain authority, it don't ever work. But that's what a lot of brothers do. I wanted to say this because I want y'all to understand how a lot of people in here live in a delusional state of mind, assuming that they have more power, more authority than they really have. But you got to think about it like this, y'all. In here, we've all been stripped down to the bare essentials. Nothing that happens for us happens without somebody helping us. So we feel inferior. We feel less confident. It does affect our self-esteem. And a lot of times we're doing things not to just convince you that we are somebody and that we are relevant. We're doing it to convince ourselves. Keep that in mind when you're dealing with somebody in here. It's a whole lot going on. Way more than a person in here wants to admit. But you got to put in work to become a better person. And you can't keep serving your time. I don't care how long you got. It ain't got nothing to do with that. So don't let somebody that you love in here that's got a lot of time tell you that you can't understand. You ain't got the time I got. Don't let them feed you that garbage. Don't let them feed you that, because it ain't got nothing to do with the time. It ain't got nothing to do with the time, because you can overcome that time. You can overcome that time. And I don't mean that by saying that you can do something and you can get out. You can, you get your case overturned. There's ways to get out of here legal and all this and that, right? But that ain't what I'm talking about. That ain't what I'm talking about. It's allowing the time to dominate your mind and make you feel like it don't matter, that life don't matter no more. As long as you're still breathing, no matter where you're at, you're still somebody. This idea that we have of how you should serve your sentence is what's messed us up. This idea that somebody long time ago, I don't know when, I don't know who, but whoever it was, they're going to blow hell wide open because they convinced everybody in the penitentiary that the way we do time, hurting, robbing, stealing, raping, and killing each other is the way you do time. It's the way you pay for what you did wrong. No, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It only serves to hurt us. It only serves to hurt us. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. But I don't have to have all the answers to know that what we've been doing while we've been in prison, since prison's been in existence, it don't work. Don't work. Yeah, the people that run prisons have a lot to do with that, but you have a lot to do with it too. The people that you love have a lot to do with it too, so don't let them off the hook. Just wanted to drop that on y'all, you know. Check out this story. If you like it, hit me up in the comment sections and let me know. And if you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it. I want to hear that. Tell me what it is that you think that I need to go a little further and explain in certain situations or whatever. Tell me what it is because I want you to engage me. I want you to help me make this show the best show that's out there in relation to what goes on in the criminal world, the thinking process, gangs, all of that. Let me know that you need to talk more about this, Joe. You need to share more about that, Joe. Tell us what this means. Tell us what's going on a little bit better than what you've been doing. Say that to me because y'all family and I can take it. I can take it. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so tired.